Well, this week is obviously very special with Anzac round and Anzac Day on this Friday. It's fairly significant. And one bloke who was so proud of his family and his father, and every time he laced the boots up, it was almost like he was representing his family. He wasn't the most popular footballer, this bloke. I can tell you this now. He was off the field. With opposition. Opposition hated him. He gave more than he got. Josh McGuire, thank you for being with us on Inside Ball. How are you?
Appreciate it, mate. Yeah, I like to think my teammates liked me.
Oh, they loved you.
They loved you, mate.
And my coaches, but I was a prick of a bloke on the field. I know that, so I have no excuses for that, mate. So
why were you that way, Josh?
Oh, mate, I wasn't gifted with size or strength or speed, so I knew the best way to get somebody off their game was to be a prick, and I found every opportunity to put you off your game. It made me be a better player in the way of you have to live up to what you say. So
every week
you have to do it, and back it up, and you be a prick, and it just pushes me to be a better player myself. It was never personal. I never took it as it was personal what I said on the field, but it wasn't personal as in like I wasn't saying it to be malicious. I was saying it to find a reaction and obviously push myself as well. But it is what it is, mate.
Who got? What's your favourite sledge? We'll get to that early in the piece before we go through you.
Oh, mate, I've had probably a couple I won't say on screen, but mate, if I knew like Ash Taylor copped a fair bit off me when he got like the boys.
When he went to the Titans?
Yeah, when he was at the Titans and when they were trying to get rid of him, he was on all that money, and I was just like talking to him about the boys not liking you. And I remember one game, I think I was into him, and then might have been, who was it? Somebody said from the other, he turned, I said, no one, yeah, you're right. Who was it? There was somebody there on his own team. I said, yeah, you're right. He is a fuckwit. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right.
And then he turned to him and goes, did you call me a fuckwit? So I got the reaction straight away.
Yeah. So, set the trap, eh?
Yeah, mate, it was just anything. Kevie would know, we were in Origin, and I'd sit with Will Chambers and we'd research every player. If we knew something about you, I was bringing it up. So,
Will's a good one at that too.
Oh, I'm going to get to that. I am going to get to that.
There was plenty, like, I was always, if I knew you'd been dropped or if I'd done something better than you in the game, like if you come off the bench and you thought you were good, I was just into you.
Well, my study person, Narelle Walters, you used to study the families.
Yes.
And the brothers and the sisters.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah, everybody.
Yeah,
just to get an advantage.
If I knew something about your wife, your brother, your sister, your kid.
You'd bring it up.
It was coming up. And I had a double barrel and I was waiting for it. So, mate, I had notes on everyone. And I'd research, and if I played with, like, we were going to the Origin camp, and I'd sit there and research. Tell me about this.
You did pull on some of your Origin mates, but we'll get to that later. Childhood.
Yes.
Where'd you grow up, mate?
I was born in Brisbane. We moved around. Dad was in the army, as you've touched on, and went from Brisbane to Lismore, Lismore to Wagga, Wagga back to Lismore, and then Lismore back up to Brizzy.
Yeah.
And then once we got there, I got 5 brothers, and the army decided it was just too hard to move us around. It was too expensive. So once we got back to Brizzy, I was probably 12 or 13, and then straight back in. Yeah, we kind of set up at North Brizzy. Yeah, Aspley. I lived at Aubrey Creek, but I played for the Aspley Devils. My first year of footy was when I was 14, and that was it. I didn't play footy. 14, played footy, and by 19, 5 years later, I was playing NRL.
Hang on, you'd never played rugby league. I never knew this. So what sport did you play, because your dad was always,
inline hockey and ice hockey was my main sport, and baseball growing up.
And now you had some talent with the ice hockey, didn't you?
Yeah. I was actually, the only reason, this is funny, the only reason I played rugby league was when I was 14. I got suspended for 6 months playing inline hockey. I stabbed someone in the face with a hockey stick.
I was about to say, let me guess, you used the stick as a weapon.
I did, and then I got suspended for 6 months, and then one of my mates, Rowan McNamara at school, told me to come down and play rugby league, and Andrew G was the football manager of Aspley Devils at the time and found me, and they put me straight in the Premier League, and I played on the wing my first couple of games, got picked for Queensland, Australian Schoolboys my second year of footy.
From the wing?
I was my first game of football was I got picked in the Brisbane Stingers team as a winger.
Right, well, Dobbo and I have a little thing on our podcast
about
wingers.
Of the weeks. We're not a huge fan of wingers as a general rule because they actually. But you started as a winger.
Quick. By the end of my career, I was in the middle. So each year I was just kind of pushed in and closer to the ball.
So what year? You played under 20s, right, for the Broncos. So 08 you were selected So how did that happen? So you're obviously playing in those Aussie schoolboys. Then the under-20s comp picture. Now that side was stacked, wasn't it?
Yeah. We had Benny Hunt, me, Gerard Yowie, Andrew McCulloch, Alex Glenn.
So that whole group of boys went through.
They went through together.
Yeah. Will Tupou played on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
We played union. We had a stacked team. A lot of guys played NRL.
Lost to GF.
We lost GF to Canberra.
Yeah.
In overtime. Ben Hunt didn't kick a single goal. We scored more tries, so Hunty's cost us 2 GFs. People don't forget.
He's a big fan of the show, Hunty.
He loves the show as well, mate.
Thanks,
he won't. So, mate, I remember, and I remember Benny Hannett was a starting prop, and you used to come off the bench, and this is 2012 or somewhere like that.
Yep.
You had a flat top. You were you were just a young bloke. So that debut, Hook had obviously coached you in 08. Was he your coach then? So that relationship with you and Hook obviously transpired to get to your debut. Tell us about your debut.
Yeah, so Ivan Henjak was the coach in 09. So Wayne had just left. I'd played 08, 20s. I got brought into, to be honest, back in 08, I wasn't even meant to play 20s. I'd been kicked out of the Broncos too for 6 months because I was at a strip joint underage. So
what happened?
So I got caught. I was working for the Berrigans, and I was at the Gold Coast underage. And before the preseason, the 20s even started, I got caught at Cavill Ave at Showgirl, Hollywood Showgirls at a strip joint.
What, you're 17 years old?
17 years old. I was working. So what happened back then for 20s, you either go to school or you have to work. And I wasn't enough money. I was in an NRL contract, so I said, I'm going back to school then. And I was like 18 at school, like going to Normby on Sunday and then going to school on Monday. So the Broncos quickly got me out of school and got me back to NRL training. And then I just trained first grade, obviously in 09 after my first year of 20s. And then round 3, Ivan Henjak, we finished team run. I didn't even know I was playing. I said, mate, you got to come to the airport. You're playing this weekend in New Zealand against the Warriors.
Wow.
I didn't get a chance to tell my mum and dad or anything.
So did they get over for the game?
No. It was all last minute. So I got put in the team. And then I got into the game pretty early too because Joel Clinton got injured. And I ended up playing like 50 minutes for my first game in front row. So it was a good debut. We won in New Zealand too. And
went out, got
shit-faced and had a great time.
You thought, how easy is this?
Yeah, this is great. Well, Lockie is there. All the guys, you just catch and pass and run the ball.
That side was stacked back then as well, wasn't it?
We had Israel, Carmichael, Justin Hodges, Corey, Sam, Dave Taylor, Tio, Matt Gillette, myself, Alex Glenn, Macca.
09.
09. It was stacked. Peter Wallace,
in
New South Wales halfback. I don't know how he didn't win a comp. But anyway.
Well, I mean, you guys got the semi-finals, I think, 10. You were a big chance and you had all sorts of dramas. It imploded, against Melbourne, came back.
Yep. Mate, we played plenty of opportunities. Well, Lockie's, 2011 was a perfect example. Lockie done his face. We should have won it that year, I think.
Yeah, if he stays healthy.
In the semis. Lockie breaks his face. We fly him down in a helicopter, and I'm thinking Lockie's playing, and then we play Matt Gillette at 5'8", so we were destined to fail then. So, he can play football, but he's not a 5'8".
That's it. Well, he'd played a bit of 6, hadn't he?
For Bribey Island Warriors, that's about it.
not a preliminary final against Manly.
So it killed me. Anyway, we had Dale Copley out there spiking balls when he should have been catching them and scoring them.
Mate.
Hello to Dale as well. Jeez, this is a good podcast.
Dale.
They'll be tuning off everywhere.
He's a lawyer now, Dale. He'll be very careful. He's a lawyer now.
I saw him do it. Mate, he couldn't do fitness to save his life. I saw him down at Scarborough Beach running, getting ready for a marathon. He couldn't.
Is that right? The other day?
He couldn't do a 1.2 to save himself.
Right.
Now he's running marathons. Go figure.
Now, how did you move, though? You said you started off on the wing. Who moved you into the middle? How did that happen?
Well, first year footy, I was centre winger, and then obviously you learn the game a little bit, and I was just really aggressive. And Paul Dyer, who's the new NRLW's coach, come to Aspley, and then I went from out there to, he goes, mate, you're playing front row. And then I played edge back row through Colts and juniors, but at club footy, he was just, mate, you're in the middle. I want you just to try and kill everyone. So just made sense, I guess. I was a real big kid too. So.
Yeah, and what about your first experience of your 20s coach, Hook?
Yeah, so Hook was really good. I was actually, you probably know the story, Kev. I've come in, obviously, off my suspension from being at the strip joint, and I say to Hook, I said, mate, listen, I'm a wide running back rower. or I don't mind playing centre. I can even play 5'8". And he goes, oh, yeah, righto, mate. Yeah, well, you can play front row or you can F off. So I said, oh, mate, I'll give front row a go.
Yeah, that was it.
And that was it. I've never gone back.
But you got on well with Hook.
I love Hook.
He's an acquired taste, but if you get on with Hook, he's a very much a bloke's bloke. And you and him had an unbelievable... He loved you. Or from the get-go, you were always close with him.
I just think... Obviously, Hook was probably a little bit more old school, but... It was either Hook's way or the highway a bit, which I really liked. I really liked the direct coaching. I liked, just being told what to do. He never kissed your ass. He just told you when you did a good job, and he'd tell you when you played shit out. So I just reacted really well to him. I responded well. I played really good football under him. I lost my eye under him as well, and he was happy to give me my chance to come back. I've gone through a lot of adversity through injury, so he was always... the guy that I guess at that young age, my dad was away a lot in the army, so he was always deployed. So it was an opportunity. He was like the dad figure when my dad wasn't there. So I have nothing but respect for him. I talked to him the other day, even after football, like through obviously commercial stuff with work. He's always an ear to lend. He's always there to lend a hand and help me out.
Can you talk to me about your eye? I remember when it happened.
Yep.
And I know we're jumping around a bit, and I want to get to when you cemented yourself in the first grade. But that eye, it did change you a lot, didn't it, when it happened?
Yeah, so 2011, playing the Bulldogs, Mitchell Dodds comes on his last 5 minutes of the game. I hit Greg Eastwood. The tackle's kind of made, and Doddsy's just getting involved, and it's taking my eye out. And then I didn't think much of it at the start. Like, I was sore, and I was kind of rattled. But I went out and got on the sipper after, and then
was it closed up at the time?
No, it was just like, when your eyes, like my eye was closed, but it was like you couldn't see into it. It was just black. So I was like, oh, this is no good. But we won the game, so I was like, I'm going out for a drink.
So you went out with one eye?
Yeah, I went out. Then I was at the pub, I think it was the GPO, and I felt my eye leaking. And I was like, oh, I'm in a bit of Barney rubble here. So I called my old boy, and he takes me up to the hospital, and I'm full as a goog. They said your eyes collapsed and we've got to rush you in and we've got to get surgery. We had to wait 24 hours because I was still pissed. Wow. So then we got the surgery, and then the doctor said, mate, I don't recommend you playing sport anymore, blah, blah, blah. Andrew G was a football manager then, and mate, I was distraught. I thought my career was over. And they both just said, hey, if you think you can come back and you want to come back, we'll back you. And I just spent the next probably 3 or 4 months training and trying to learn how to play with one eye with depth perception and learn the whole thing of football. And I found, like anything, you find ways to make yourself better and kind of adapt to the game. And I learned to catch the ball tighter to the ruck and bounce to a certain way and use different kind of style of footy. And once I learnt what worked for me, I just stayed at it and come back, still played Origin, played Australia.
You hadn't played for any of them by then. Like you literally, and I've got to be honest with you, you hadn't cemented your spot as a starting front rower when you did your eye, because go to 2012, 2013, you and Hannett were neck and neck. Yeah. Hannett had been bought back from the Dogs. Yeah. He was playing Origin at that stage, and he was good to you, but you had Jared Wallace and those boys, and it was...
we brought Petro back.
It was all very much neck and neck, and then, mate, literally, you just went... bang, over the lot of them. And that's fair. And you did that with one eye.
Yeah. No, it was just, I think like when you come back to like coaches that probably show you a bit of love and a bit of belief in you and make you feel like you can do it. And Hook at the time was a coach and gave me that love and belief. And then I was distraught when he left, but then we were lucky enough to Kevin and Wayne came back. Yeah. And then I played Origin and I played Australia and I kept on jumping and finding that next level, I guess, for myself. But like the Origin, I finally got picked in Origin, and then I've got another injury, and obviously you just keep getting those setbacks. But the eye probably set me up to be able to come back from the Achilles tear, which was just another thing in the stepping stone of football.
Okay,
I just want to stay on the eye for 1 minute, right? Yep. So you came back with the eye, but your vision. Just explain to us, because I used to watch you at training, passing balls, and you were pardon the pun, dead eye straight with a pass, and he's doing it with one eye, virtually. So it's amazing, but it didn't always work out well if you did it. No. Do you remember Josh Papali?
Yeah, I do remember Josh Papali.
We got that vision. We can put it on the
link it up. Honey set me up here. We've got a 2 pass from the right corner, and I'm blind on my left eye. and Honey's getting Moosey, 2 passes to the middle, set left post or something, and Papa's running past me, and I remember Papa giggling or something, and I'm like, didn't think much of it. Anyway, by the time the ball gets to me, Papa's just flogged me.
Oh, your head, mate. Have you seen
and
it?
It's on my. And I thought I broke my neck. I had that much whiplash.
Wow.
Anyway, I've got cracked and up I get. I play the ball and run down the field, and I'm filthy. And then Wayne pulls me off the game as well. Like he subs me out, and I'm fuming because I want to get one back, and I look like I'm hurt. I like he's got one over me, and I'm furious.
Big Papa.
I like anything, Kev. I had to just learn how to adapt. And when I ran to my left, I was real like jittery. I always look around. I knew if I caught the ball closer to the ruck, I had more time with the ball in my hands, so I could see where the ball.
Amazing.
If I got a long ball, like it was hard to track it, so I'd always want to get my hands on the ball early so I could use my feet. I remember when I played hooker and Milf was standing on my left and he was like 25 metres wide and I'm like, come closer, like I can't see you, mate. He's like, Moose, pass. I just go to the right because I was like, we have an overlap and I'm like, nope, can't go.
It must have been weird though, and I have no idea what this is like. Knowing all the time out of your left eye you could get blindsided without seeing it. You almost play in fear of what you can't see. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, it was hard. Like, you know, if you were running a crash ball on the line and you're catching it and I can't, you're not set to get hit. So like catching it into the line, trying to run it like a short ball or in behind the ruck, like you just hit and hope, you know, you're hoping someone doesn't kill you. So it is what it is. After a while, I can't remember what it was like to have 2 eyes now. I'm a terrible driver, so if you see me on the road, stay away.
Get out of the way.
I'm just lucky you got to give way to the right and not the left, otherwise.
Hey, your career's going great guns. You make your Origin debut.
Yep.
I remember it.
Off the bench.
I remember I was part of it, part of the call team for Triple M on that night. I go back to, and we talked a lot about this, boy from Albany Creek, old man serving, you know, fighting for our country. He's always been, you got 5 brothers. Like, this was a lot for the McGuire family. To me, was that the specialist moment for you early on in your career when you made your Origin debut?
Yeah, it was too, because for me, because I was a bit of a rat bag coming through, I probably could have played a couple of years earlier, but I stuffed up on an emerging camp. I went and got on the sipper like they all do.
Was that with Kev?
No.
Because you went crazy at one of those emergings.
Well, everyone got a taste of it.
You sacked them all.
No, I sacked. It was Munster, Valentine Holmes.
Yeah, were you on that one?
No, I was before that.
So,
every year they had a history that this emerging camp of someone playing up.
And what happened with you? Tell us.
So I went out. And we all went out the Story Bridge.
You used to go and have a dinner there?
Tourist. We go to dinner, we have a few beers.
And then you're meant to come home.
Boxy's the bus driver, so Boxy Walters. Everyone's on the bus and everyone's like, you know, boys, last couple of years someone's been in trouble every year. Anyway, we're going back and I'm younger, but I'm probably pretty close to playing Origin then. We get back, I'm full, and then all of a sudden a few of us lads are going, we're going back out. And I'm like,
who's leading the charge, Moose?
I was probably one of the leaders as well.
Who'd you take with you then, Moose?
I'm not going to say under the bus, but, you know, it was the normal culprits were there, probably like me and Chambers and Gay
Dane Gagle. Was that the year Gags got done too?
Oh, no, Gags
different year.
Yeah, another year before probably. He's come back out. Anyway, we went to the GPO and shout out to the GPO. We used to have a good time there and they looked after us. Man, I've just got pissed and copped in a cab blind and gone home to mum and dad's, not knowing.
Thinking that
I'm in care, you know, when you're just natural
habit. Well, because you used to stay out at Robinson Gardens,
we stay at Robinson Gardens. So I've woken up in the morning and my phone's got like text message, but I was just lucky that it's been rained out. The training had been rained out, so no one was at training. So I've called Mao and Mao's like, mate, you know, you're going to have to cop the consequences. And then that year, Chris McQueen played, Papali played, a heap of guys played, and I would have been there. So, and that's my own learning.
That used to be you get 12 months suspension from Origin.
So then I missed my spot, and then they kept on winning. So you can't get in,
and that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah, mate. Watching guys play that you think, oh mate, I should probably be there. Like, but you know. It was my own fault, no one to blame. So then I finally play, man, I'm an emotional mess. And my dad's usually a proud New South Welsh, but he's from Blacktown, Mount Druitt. But like to play for Queensland and like to be able to be a part of it. And and experience it, and that whole experience.
2015. Did you look up to somewhat like Origin?
So for me,
what's your first memories of Origin? Not your debut, but watching it.
Just my first memories of Origin was Webby taking the carry out of the backfield. You know, when Bidiris and Rickerson's flog him, and he gets himself out past the goal line, and that was my Origin memory, thinking about
the kickoff.
The kickoff. And then I remember I took a kickoff at Origin that year. I got a kickoff. It might have been the first Origin, maybe. My first Origin, I think I got to start one game. It might have been the second year. I remember standing there going, like, oh, you know. But then I looked up and it was Clemmer, Woods and Farah, so I thought, this is a walk in the park. Just joking, please. Yeah. But, mate, like, it was just to be a part of it and an experience. Like, for me, I loved Nate Miles. Like, he was my favourite. So to come into camp and to learn... So Nate was never. Some guys you come into camp and you come into camp and they probably felt threatened by a younger guy coming in. So they didn't. They helped you, but they didn't help
really open up.
They didn't want to open up and tell you what to do or the play. So where Nate Miles was so content in his spot within the team that he would sub you in, constantly give you reps. And he was just so safe that. Mate, I can't thank Nate enough of how he made me feel
one of the best blokes that's ever played for Queensland. Wouldn't you say that?
Brilliant.
Like, just a legend.
Still involved in the team now. It's a great move from Billy Slater.
He, for me, was probably a really big reason my Origin actually kicked on because I felt comfortable.
Righto, Moose. I'm going back to that kickoff, mate, because it's one of the special moments at Origin level, and it still is now, right? So who gets to decide who's doing the first carry?
So usually it's Thumper, the guys who are older...
Takes the first
one.
Have you bullied your way in there and said, I got it?
What happened was, I think Thump usually goes right. And I've gone
you got
left.
The old eye too,
so
you got to remember.
I go to the left side because I can see the ball coming. Because if I go right, I'm 50-50. So I go to the left and I stand deep because I don't want to catch the ball. I can't see it. So I always tell me half to catch it. And then what they've kicked to me, and I just remember saying it might have been Craig Bird, Clemmer, Farah, Gow, and Woodsy. Or someone.
So do you look at them as they're coming down?
Yeah, I'm looking at who I'm choosing. Like,
I'm not
target.
Silly. You're going to pick someone.
I'll find me bunny who I think can't hit that I'm going to win. Which 9 times out of 10, if you're in the middle, you want to find a hooker if you can.
Yeah, but they're normally too far away.
Yeah, they're too far away. So then you look for one that you know can't hit. So like they weren't a hitting team, so to speak. Like for us, we had Dallas Johnson or Nate. They were big, strong blokes, but they weren't hitters. So you weren't. For me, I wasn't intimidated by any of them. Like, you weren't looking up going, he's going to fold me, this bloke. But, you find I usually found someone that I didn't think could hit and I'd run at them all day.
Yeah, but they still hit you, though, don't they?
They tackle you. It's Origin. Like, it's Origin.
Mate, they whack you.
You still get
you're making it sound a bit easier.
Broken on me first couple of sets.
They fight over who's going to do the kickoff.
Yeah, I'm looking, so I want it. And then I'm just lucky I get it. So I'm excited. But then you get that moment, you're like, it's the moment.
Everyone's watching.
Yeah. So
Ray Warren.
I dropped the ball. Like, I've got bad eyes as it is. So I'm like stressing. And then anyway, it all happens.
Once you take that hit though, and you get through it, and you get up and play the ball, are you fine then?
Fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. Everything turns off. The noise of the crowd turns off at the start. You hear like a ringing sound. You're like, and then you realise where you are. And then you're like, it's like a movie. Like everything comes live and everything starts moving.
Yeah.
And when you're first Origin, you feel like everything's fast forward. And by my third, fourth series and you're stable, everything slows down. With some guys like Munster, everything would look slow all the time.
Yeah.
But for most guys, you get out there and it's
quick.
Yeah, holy, what's going on? But
awesome.
You've got the best guys in the world, and if you play good here, you have a chance of playing for Australia.
Yeah.
So
which you end up doing.
Mate, that side you're playing. Kev talks about Origin, and Kev, you're a big part of it. You played it, you coached it, but that side was stacked. Yeah. I mean, you had Cronk, Thurston, Smith, Inglis,
Lockyer.
Like, I mean, that, like you played Origin with just the most. And so you're at the Broncos, which is a big club.
Yeah.
But then you still go to that level where when you make your debut, when there is the best, there's 3 or 4 immortals in there. Slater,
Thurston.
Yeah.
It's more... Because I was at the Broncos and we always had a Storm and they had it us. So the whole time I'm passionate Bronco. So I'm like, I hate Smithy, I hate Coops, I hate Bill. But I obviously love them because they're Queenslanders. So then you get into camp and you meet them and you become personal with them and friends and you learn habits and traits. That's probably the biggest development as a young football player is being surrounded by people who are great at what they do, and they're not professional now. They're professional in everything they do. Like, they play chess and they want to win. They play anything. We do basketball, shooting. Everyone's competing. So you learn good habits off those guys, and then you surround yourself with the best of the world. You either adapt or you don't. Origin, you probably get one moment to really be back. You can fail, and very rarely you fail in Origin, you get to come back.
Not many do.
No. So, some guys, I was just fortunate enough to don't drop the ball, don't give away penalties, play the ball quick and do my job. I just knew if I got to this point, Bill, Coops, Slater, Thurston,
English.
GI, someone's going to score, Hodjo. I just needed to do my job and they will do their jobs, and that's winning football games.
And you did that well.
I'll tell you what, who did upset your job a bit was your dad.
Yep.
Because he's New South Wales.
Yeah, he is.
He didn't even wear a Queensland jersey when you're...
Never would wear one.
No.
Never. And I used to see him.
Did you go home and flog him after you won the...
No, he'd flog me. My dad, mad Parramatta fan. His cousin's Brett Kenny. So he was always a huge Para fan, dad. And then he was from Mount Druitt, Blacktown, Mount Druitt boy.
Parramatta town.
Mum's a Kiwi Samoan, so we're a mixed bag.
So his mum not Queensland? She doesn't go for Queensland either?
She went for New Zealand, but she went for Queensland because I played.
And all the brothers and the family.
I've got 5 brothers, and we're all super supportive. So
how proud they would have been of you when you made your debut?
Mate, it was a big deal for us as a family. Like, my dad... I was playing NRL, and my dad was like in Afghanistan, and we were doing FaceTime, and he had to get off because something was going on. And you'd go play a game and not know if I was going to talk to Dad tomorrow, because he was in whatever.
Fighting, yeah.
So we were a really tight knit family. We are still now. We're super close, me and all my brothers and Mum and Dad and all the kids, and so mate, it's fantastic. But obviously, footy's over for me.
Can I ask you about 15? Because talk about highs and lows.
Yep.
You didn't play in the grand final. And I'll say this, I remember it as clear as day. It ruined you a lot that you won't, because you loved the Broncos so much.
Yeah.
And for them to get to that grand final, and I know they were, but you were heartbroken in yourself that the injury, that they got to that. How difficult was it to be, because you were having to be upbeat around the team.
Yeah.
With an Achilles injury, like you were stuffed. There's no way, and it was a difficult time for you emotionally and mentally because you were such a warrior.
Yeah. And
like, no disrespect to Mitchell Dodds, he played in a grand final. Like there was, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like for me, like you said, I was so committed to winning and wanting to be a part of this journey, and then when you get it taken away from you, and you can't really contribute any other than being obviously upbeat for the boys. And I remember when they won the prelim against the Roosters, I remember being distraught. Game. I was distraught in emotion of such emotion of relief that we got there, but then also this raw emotion of I'm not a part of this. Like I will never be.
Well, you
part
actually
of
were.
It.
You were.
But you know what? He was injured. I remember it. I remember it as clear as day. I remember that.
Yeah, it was, mate. It really it rattled me for a bit, and then obviously I had to come back from the eye, and then I just played Origin, and now I got hurt again, and then I was lucky enough the next year to actually play. I remember I was recovering from my Achilles tear, and we're doing pre-season, and Kevin remember the story. I'm training before the boys are training, and I'm trying to get ready.
That was at UQ, was it?
At UQ.
I remember it.
And Kev used to walk around the stadium before training to do his his hot girl walk, he gets ready. And I'm training and I'm lippy and I'm giving Kev stuff. I said, oh, my mum does that or something. Yeah. He goes, oh, no, I do 6 laps for every premiership I've won. So that I'm just going, all right, I've got
to shut up.
Your misfortune was only very short-lived because you made your debut for Australia in 2016 in the Anzac Day test.
Yep, yeah.
That would have been so proud for you, being from a military family and what your dad had been through and your family.
Yeah, I think
without him at home, and like.
Yeah, mate, it was really emotional. Obviously, green and gold, like Origin's Origin, and you have that emotional connection for that. But then the green and gold, I have it right there as well because of Dad and military, and you're singing the national anthem, you're playing the Kiwis, and it's the Anzac. The whole emotion about it was really super. 1, overwhelming, and then 2, coming into that arena from the injury was a huge relief for myself. But I was very, and I don't show, I was very fortunate that our Broncos 16 team, we'd come off a grand final. We started the year on fire. I was starting. Wayne had put me back into this team straight away after obviously gone through a grand final. So I was thinking, where do I sit in the team? They've gone to a GF. Am I going to have to start off the bench again? And I'm proud as they come. I don't want to start off the bench. I want to start. And Wayne's chucked me in. We're playing good footy. So I know that I was circumstances. I was part of a great team, which we got picked. And then I had played Origin the year before. So I'd been told from Tim Sheens earlier in a couple of years that I was too small to play for Australia. He said, like, he picked me. He didn't want to pick me because I was too small. And then Mao called me and said, do you want to play for Australia? And I was,
let me at him. Because you had played for Samoa, hadn't you, previously?
Yeah, I played for Samoa in the Four Nations.
That would have been proud for you too, because you've got Samoan heritage, haven't you?
Yeah, Mum's Samoan. And it was a huge stepping stone for my career because you're playing against the best in the world then. If you're doing good against them, you know you can hold your own in that arena. So I just wanted to play football. I'd rather play football than do pre-season.
So, mate, everything's going along well. Your Origin career, but I've got to be honest with you. The Josh McGuire, and this is we're talking here because I know you personally very well. Somehow you got the shits with the media, like properly in those years. Like something happened where you used to be very user friendly, and it became and Will Chambers was the same, but and you and I never had an issue. You'd always talk to me, but mate, you had a disdain to the point that you refused to do media. You got what happened? What caused in that time? Because then you go to the Cowboys, and I'll get to that. But what happened there that it just became? It was almost untenable for you.
Yeah.
You know, like
what happened was there was something going on at the club where someone had mentioned like a bit of inside mail to someone, and what happened was I had told my manager. And it wasn't even the correct story that came out. I had told my manager something, and something got back to the media, and it was just out of, when you have a phone call, if you call your manager, you go, hey, mate, like this guy might be leaving. I'm coming off contract. Do you reckon there's a chance we could resign? Like, I'm trying to just figure out my life in general and where my money's going to be, if I'm going to have money. And anyway, there was a bit of an in-house thing with me and the boys, and it wasn't bad at all. It was just like, the Honey and I think it was Reedy that were giving me a bit of shit, and we had a bit of a to and fro. It was all good because everything that we talked about wasn't correct.
Yeah.
It wasn't legit. So, but then someone had released all of that to the media, which obviously I wasn't going to be the one, and then I felt like I was personally attacked for something I hadn't done. Then I obviously, being the guy I am, was emotionally invested into going, F you, if you're going to make me look this way.
Because you banned Bomber. For
mate,
what?
I was fuming. But that shows also at that time the immaturity of where I was at as a person, not be able to have some phone calls and figure that out. I was just a hothead, angry. I was angry at everyone.
You're all of that, I can tell you. I can confirm.
So at the time, it was going to be everyone's scorn earth. I'm going to come after everyone. And then
Bomber says to me, we will get Bomber on this one day. Bomber reckons that Josh, because Mamino was your manager at this stage, and we love Simon, but Simon and Bomber were great mates.
Yeah.
And so he's obviously tipped Bomber.
Yeah.
And then all hell's broken loose. And you were going to kill Bomber.
Oh, mate, I was.
Bomber was threatened and everything.
If I had seen him at the club at that time, I would have been done for assault because I was that angry.
Really?
Mate, I was furious because I had told someone in confidence. Nothing, like, it wasn't even a big thing, but it got made into this bigger than Ben Hurst.
Chinese whispers, mate.
Yeah. And I was
rugby league.
But
rugby league.
I went on to play to the club for another 6-7 years, so it couldn't have been that bad.
No, but then it was very prickly with you and the media from then on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I reckon the biggest mistake is that you left the Broncos.
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, I understand you changed managers. You went with Isaac, but I always looked at you a Bronco, and I know you wanted to keep your career going.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us how that played out, and do you have any regrets? Because you went to the Cowboys.
Yeah. Oh man, I've got huge regrets. Like, I still talk to Kevie when I was playing for Australia and Origin. I was at probably the peak of my powers. I had just signed a 4-year deal at the Broncos on big money, and then what happened was Wayne, the fallout with Wayne stuff happened, and then Wayne was leaving all of a sudden. So Wayne still had another 2 years
Yeah.
left, maybe.
When he got sacked, 2018.
28 leading to 19. So he was getting sacked, and then what's his name? Seabold was coming on board. He was managed by Isaac, and like I don't know the ins and outs of it, but all I do know is I got a phone call. I'm on Australian tour, and I get a phone call
overseas in the off season.
I played for Australia at the time. We're playing Tonga,
right,
and New Zealand in the test, and I get a phone call and it says, "Hey mate, the Broncos have said if you're happy to have a look after this deal's done, there's not going to be anything here for you." And I was first year into a 4-year contract. I was like, what? Like,
yeah, that's
I'm going to be like, what do you mean? Like, but, I'm just playing for Australia now. Obviously, I might be off, but I'd love to finish my career. So maybe we have a look around. All of a sudden, Cowboys and Melbourne there's an opportunity to go to either or. And then the Cowboys deal was the same amount of money plus more and an extra year. So then I said, well, mate, I don't want to leave. Can we go and ask the Broncos, can you give me one more year and I'll retire then? And that was just a flat no. I got told pretty much like, if you can leave, it'd mean a lot to us. The coach is going. And there was a clause in my contract if Wayne wasn't there, I could go. So anyway.
So hang on. You were 1 year into a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
Wayne gets sacked in 18. So 19, 20, 21, you still could have.
31.
Yeah.
So then I got told that the Cowboys would match the money plus more, and I was on big money.
Yeah.
And then give me another year on top. So I was like, and like Greeny wanted me, and I felt a bit of love, and I wasn't hearing anything from the Broncos. Wayne's going, the new coach is not coming. He's pretty much said, "Oh mate, he can go." They wanted.
So you didn't have a conversation with Anthony Seabold?
Seabold didn't talk to you?
Not once.
So who was telling you this from the Broncos? Was it Peter Nolan?
Nolan or whoever.
He's just doing his job.
Yeah, so whoever was doing it. So mate, I'm distraught.
Yeah, but that's an Isaac. Isaac and Nugget were obviously, where does that come from?
Mate, I don't know. Like, so all I do know is that my money got used to then retain Tavita, Matt Lodge, and a few other guys who happened to be on contract with the same manager and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know the ins and outs of it. All I know is that I get paid well. I got paid really well to go to the Cowboys. So
you were big freight.
Big money. So, I got paid really well. So it was a win-win on money. On for everyone.
But it ruined
paid.
You, mate.
It did ruin me. I was never the same player.
You only had like 5 or 6 games to go to get to 200, wasn't it?
Yeah. He never was the same.
I was never the same player.
No, he wasn't, because he changed the way he played in 2019, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you want me to take you through your 29 season?
Go.
Have you finished with these stuff?
I just want to get him till he goes to the Cowboys, because 2019 was bedlam.
Well, you know what happened.
Yeah.
You eye gouged your State of Origin teammate, Cameron, got accused of eye gouging.
It was called, what do they call it? They didn't call it eye gouging, they called it something else. It was like not as
contrary
bad.
conduct.
Contrary conduct.
You got fined $3.5 grand, so there's already into the money pit. 3.5 donation to whatever.
Yep.
Right? What do you tell us about that story though?
So
did you gouge him? Did you gouge Munster?
I raked his face. I didn't eye gouge you.
Here we go.
I raked his face. So Munster had me and Munster. I love Munster. I love him to death, but he pissed me off a lot on the field. Obviously, he's a larrikin, and he used to tease you, Moose. He used to fucking scruff me head and run away. They'd score in the right corner, and he'd run past me and go, "That's your fault, Moose." And I'm playing back row, so I'm fuming. So then I've shot out of the line and I'm trying to get Munster and I've missed him and then I've finally got him and I'm just standing on him, I'm twisting things. And then, I don't know, I have this bright idea just to I wanted to hurt him, so I just rake at his face and then he's carrying on, which, fair enough. But then Smithy saves me. Smithy goes, Munster makes a complaint and then Smithy, I go, and I'm saying to Munster,
we're Origin mates, come on.
Yeah, you fucking
don't.
And then Smithy's like to Munster, mate, what are you doing? And then Munster pulls back. It doesn't. So there's no complaint. So that's why there's no eye gouge.
Right.
So to speak.
Right.
So I get away with it. So to speak. I got
$3.5 grand.
You got $3.5 in the hole, but
he's on $1 million.
I'm on nearly $1 million that year.
Right. So that's that one. Right. And then round 13. That was round 5. Round 13. Charged again, putting hands in the face of Dylan Walker.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Another fine, $4,500.
Yeah, so Dylan Walker...
But this hand of yours just wobbles in people's faces,
Keep on going. Dylan Walker, I love this justification.
Dylan Walker... I've got something I'm after Dylan Walker that game. Something's coming to me about him getting in trouble with his partner, and You know, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I didn't condone what had happened in the media. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, you should use the read between the line if you want. So then I'm in my head, I'm going to get him. I always had players I wanted to get. So
Write it down on the notes, yeah.
So I've gone after him and I've smushed his face in the ground like that. Like, not eye gouging, but again, you know, when you smish them on the ground. Like,
no, you
get away with it.
We don't know. Dobbo, I know, Don, but you seem like you know what
anyway,
you're doing
I
there.
get charged for that. So I'm spiraling by then. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be up there. I want to go home.
Well, your reactions according to that as well. Origin, late shot on James Maloney.
Yeah, well,
you get a week.
He had that coming.
He had that coming.
The game.
Yeah,
I was angry, so it's Origin.
Round 21, charged with putting hands in the face of David Fafita, suspended for 3 weeks. Is this your right hand or your left hand doing all the damage? You don't know.
It was my blind
What
side.
did Fafita do?
It's on my blind side.
What did Fafita do?
Mate, that one, if you watch it back, it's literally a touch like that.
Oh, but you're a marked man now. They're looking at you.
It's nothing. There's no malicious intent in this one at all. But because I've had priors, I was gone.
All right, it's not finished yet. Round 25. Charged for a trip on the Australian captain, Cameron Smith.
Yeah.
Did he say anything?
1 week suspension.
1 week, and then I get dropped from Australia because I can't play for Australia. I never play representative footy again.
That was it.
That was it.
Because you tripped the
Do you reckon
captain.
it was because you tripped Cam?
No. It was just because I was suspended for a game and Mao couldn't take me on the tour with the suspension.
And that was it?
That was it. Never played Origin Australia again.
Okay.
So that's 2019.
That's 2019, horrific year.
Yeah.
But it does coincide with you going to the Cowboys and how unhappy you were in yourself.
Oh, mate, you got to be happy. You
weren't happy, mate.
No. And everyone knows me, knows how much I love the Broncos. And, mate, I made millions going elsewhere, playing for them and the Dragon, like all up, you know, I made a lot of money. But money doesn't make you happy. And biggest thing when I come back to work with Kevie at the Bronx, it was always to tell the young guys that the grass isn't always greener. It's not all about money. And it's easy to say that when you've had the money, but if I could turn back my career a million times over, and I love the Cowboys, I love my time there as in the blokes.
And the Dragons as well.
And the Dragons, like I had some really good friendships, but for my football development, I should have stayed at the Broncos. But in saying that, like the way they went, and so like it would have been fine if Kevie rolled in and coached straight away. Like it would have all been good.
They got a spoon.
So like you know, but it is what it is. Mate, I was my own worst enemy in my career. Like I had really lots of highs, but I had lots of lows, and I have no one to blame other than myself.
How low did you get, Moose?
Well, we probably touched on it, Kev. Like in 2019, I tried to kill myself, which is back then I couldn't talk about it. It was a really bad place for me.
What, off the back of going to the
I was just not happy. And then the Origin, then the suspensions after suspensions and social media. I just got into a hole, and I was using alcohol and everything else to fill it, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I just one day at the time, I decided I was done, and I wasn't. I wasn't in a good place with my partner at the time and my kids. And
Tanissa was a big part of trying to save you back then, wasn't it? Like know, she helped you.
Mate, she was great for me. Like it was just a part of my career. Where I was vulnerable and I was in a bad place, and like lots of players go through themselves.
So you felt isolated, like alone?
I was a lot, mate. In myself, but like I said, I had no one to blame but myself, and it was just hard lessons I had to learn. And
fortunately, you did, mate.
I did, and I got caught in the act of doing it. And things could have gone different. I might have, who knows? But I'm just very fortunate at that time. She came back to the house where she did and found me, and it all didn't really, happen. But, that's just football. That's what happens in football, and that's what us young guys at the time, I wasn't young, I was 29, playing for Australia, playing Origin. Everything was going good, and I didn't care, but I didn't care about any of the money, Origin, Australia. All I cared about was where I was at, and I wasn't in that good place.
Do you reckon, mate, and thank you for being so honest about it, and it's such an unbelievable lesson, but because you're such a gladiator on the field, you know, like going back, everybody wanted to see Josh McGuire. Every time you made a hit, everybody cheered for you.
Yep.
But then when you go into mainstream life, and mate, people were just, and you did something wrong, they were quick to turn. So it's like you're getting paid to be this bloke that is this alpha, just absolute. Yep. But then they want choir boys when you're behind. How do you get the balance? Like how do you? And is this part of the reason why that on a Sunday
Yep.
you cheered for the gladiator?
Yeah.
Mate, on Monday you've got to be holier than thou. You can't do anything wrong, and it's a hard act of balance.
Yeah, it is. It's hard. Like the thing is, for me, is like I was paid millions of dollars to be away. Like, you know, they wanted you to be a killer. When I first started, I could hit Jonathan Thurston late 3 times before I even get warned.
Yeah.
So, like,
that was your job.
That was my job, to go out there and inflict pain, intimidate, hurt, tell them. If I didn't hit them, I told them I was going to come. And I was ruthless in my approach. Like, I would tell players, I'm going to break your ACL today. You're fucked. You will never play again if I get my hands on you. Like, that's my mindset of the way I was playing. So then the game changes for the better, you know, people. But I had been rewarded for this, and I only knew how to play this way. Then the game changes, and I don't want to change, and I know I get paid for doing this, and then I just couldn't adapt. I just couldn't get my head around playing cleanly or playing to a style of footy that was politically correct, where I wanted to live and die by my sword. And, you know, if I got done, I could have been injured a million times. People would twist me ankles, who had me knees done, I had my shoulders.
Standing on you.
You know, people stand on you. It was just part of the war. Like, it's, you know, it's war. You versus me, and kill or be killed. But then the game changes, and Joey and Sally want to bring their kids to watch it, which is fine. But so I think the game's not for everyone. We shouldn't pander to everyone. Sometimes shit happens in football. People get injured, and it's no one's fault. But we always want to blame everyone, or there's a reason why someone gets hurt or someone gets knocked out. Sometimes shit happens.
Can I ask you, just on a current thing, last week the Lachlan Galvin thing blew up.
Yep.
So I'd love your take on where you stand with it, because I feel like there's a 19-year-old kid out there who was very much like Josh McGuire, super talent, lots of money coming there, and in some ways he's been thrown under the bus a little.
He definitely has. I think Lachlan Galvin has every right to make a decision on his career, like we all do. If you're a chippy, if you're an electrician, if you don't want to work for Energex in 2 years' time, but you want to do your job every week, why can't he go work somewhere else?
Agreed.
But at the end of the day, what's best for the West Tigers, Lockie Galvin's playing 5'8".
And stay there.
And stay there and learn and develop. But what's been said in the media, no, he's never come out once. Isaac Moses has never come out once and said, I want to leave because of this and this reason, because of Benji. It's all hearsay. So he's a young boy now, and then other young guys in the team are getting influenced, and then they're having their...
There's online bullying going on.
It's workplace bullying. And, mate, I was one of the biggest workplace bullies, and if I was in his team, I probably would turn on him too, because that's the mentality of a rugby league player at the time. But what happens if this young man goes out this week or next week, he doesn't play, his hole keeps getting bigger, and he does something that he will regret for the rest of his life, like a lot of young football players have. Whose fault is it then? And who are we looking at? We're looking at the media, we're looking at his teammates, we're looking at the club. Why can't he come and play football every week and just let the kid be happy? If he's the best player for the team, if he's playing poorly, then don't pick him. But he's not. There's a reason you're offering him the biggest contract in history than to not pick him. So
true. That's crazy. Mate, you go over to England. Oh, geez, we can keep on going. Can we talk about England?
That's probably the next podcast.
That didn't last.
No, it was a fail.
Yeah,
you didn't like it, did you?
No, I wasn't built. Again, politically incorrect.
You said the wrong thing. Yeah. You regret being regarded, lovely bloke, but you're regarded as one of the dirtiest players to play the game of the modern era.
Yeah.
Does that bother you?
The thing is, do I play for Australia? Do I play Origin? Do I earn millions of dollars if I don't play it that way? If I don't live by those rules the way I played? Yeah. So I can't take all the good stuff and then not take the bad stuff with it. So do I regret some of the stuff I did? 100%. Can I change it? No. So then it is what it is. I'm here now. I'm enjoying life after football. I've got some fantastic relationships with you guys, and I've made some fantastic relationships through football. I was very fortunate enough. I've always won players play at all the clubs I played at, so the Broncos and the Cowboys. Like, I had great relationships with my teammates, which mean more to me than anything else. So that I walk away from football with regrets, but I can't change it, so I can't think about it in that way.
Right, talking about your teammates, is there someone who's had a significant influence over you more than not? or someone, one of your favourite teammates?
I've got plenty of really good teammates. Jordan McLean's probably my best friend from football. Like our relationship we built through
pig shooting and that too,
hunting and fishing and all of our lifestyle stuff away from football. But as a young player, me and Corey Parker clashed like cats and dogs. But towards the end of my career, he taught me some really good lessons. Sam Thaiday, Matt Gillette. I had a tremendous relationship with all our forwards. But Jordan McLean is probably my best friend from football, I'd say.
Toughest opponent? Sorry, Dobbo. You're going to say that?
No, I was going to say that. You go.
Toughest opponent, mate?
A guy that I respected within football was Sam Burgess. I think, as in physically toughest. Yeah. Like a guy. We talk about playing both sides of the ball. I think there's a lot of front rowers who are really good ball runners, but you don't look up and go, "Oh, geez, I'm worried about him in a game of football. He's going to run for 250 metres," but I'm not. You wouldn't be intimidated by them. Whereas Sam Burgess played both sides of football, you always look for him. Tino's another player you would always look for. So there's not a lot of them around anymore. Jared Hargraves, but I thought Sam Burgess is probably, in my opinion, has been the best middle forward in the last 50 years.
Amen.
Shit.
I mean,
he was unbelievable. As a whole football player, if you're going to build a football player as a middle player who can play back row, edge, middle, can pass, can run, can hit, he's a leader, he's tough, he's durable. You don't find many better than that bloke.
No, he's tough too. Grand final, he broke his jaw, didn't he? Mate, smashed his face.
You know, I had some really good battles against him and his brothers, and I loved it. We beat them in the World Cup final, so...
Who's going to win the comp this year?
I want the Broncos to win. I think it's there for taking. They've got a lot of hard lessons to learn, a lot of young guys still to go through some really early learning, growing pains. But if you've got Dozer, Renault, those kind of guys, Payne and Paddy can play their role. Xavier Williams and Jensen got some big roles to play for the best. They've got to relieve the pressure off those two, because if Payne and Paddy get tired, they have to have a period where they're going to have a down. And those guys have to really kind of take that pressure off them so that we can play them for those big minutes in the end of the year.
Now, your favourite footy moment? Is there one you pick out? A day, an origin, a game for the Bronx, a game for the Cowboys?
17 origin, game 2, we're down. Jono kicks it from the sideline. We go through. It was our...
I was coaching that side.
Jono had a busted shoulder.
Jono had a busted shoulder. I won the Ron McAuliffe medal that year for the Origin Players Player. It was just that moment to be a part of that team and to win that award, a part of that event. So that year, 17 was my best year by far. I played World Cup, won the award for Origin. It was like a special year for me. And then obviously Kevie and those guys, sharing it with those guys was really special.
Good times, though.
They were good times, mate. Younger side too. Well, after that, you saw the changeover of players, didn't you?
Well, we came the older guys, myself and Benny and those guys.
All right. Dobbo?
Oh, good. I think you're a legend, mate.
Is there anything? Oh, we better ask him what you doing now, mate. What are you up to now?
I run an outdoor marketing agency called Paradise Outdoor Advertisement. So we're Queensland's largest outdoor billboards and advertising business. So if you want any advertisement, hit us up. But mate, I'm really happy. I work for a good friend of mine named Mitch James. He runs the business and just enjoy that. I'm still involved with the PBR. We've got some bulls with the PBR.
He's breeding a few bulls for the PBR.
A few bulls. Just brought a new one, Moto. Lucy's Moto. So
how does that work? I don't know much about the bulls. How does that work? You buy them and then they...
I'm part of the MJ Keeler Bucking Bulls team, and I just brought into a couple of bulls. The Alpha Blokes, they have a podcast. They just brought one of our bulls off us, the Warden, and renamed him Alpha Blokes Warden. So, it's just being a part of a community. I love the country lifestyle. Well. Dobbo's been a part of it.
Do you ride the bulls?
No, I don't ride bulls.
Mate. So No, he just breeds them.
I'm just breeding, mate.
That's where the money is, mate.
Right, well, can you get Dobbo and I inside ball?
I reckon I'm just going to toss it out there. I reckon, Kevie, we get you on a bull for the podcast. And we'll get you to ride a bull, and we'll get a New South Wales
ride a bull.
No we'll get an old one.
I've seen Alfie on a bull.
I reckon you ride a bull, and we might be able to get a Benny Elias.
You go to a radio though.
Yeah, I'll go to a radio. I'll hang around the Cowboys.
We go to the Great Western up at Rocky.
Mate, one of the great establishments, mate.
Yeah, but I'm not getting on a bull, Moose.
Mate, I reckon I'll get a sponsor to sponsor it, and all the money will go to your show to charity.
I'm not getting on a bull, mate.
Kevie's getting on a bull.
The bull is in your court,
Kevin.
Kieran might want to do that. My brother, Kieran Wilders, are out there, Fock. We've got a bull ride for you, champ. Strap yourself in.
The best, mate. Thank you so much for sharing it, mate. You guys are good. You're a great man.
He's a good coach as well, Moose.
He's an unbelievable wrestle coach. They love him, mate.
Defence
The
coach
players
and all
loved
that
him.
stuff.
No,
You
I
might
think
get back into it again, eh?
One day, mate, if Kevie gets a job somewhere, let's see.
Moose, just get your,
I'll be ready to
get your
rock and
bags,
roll.
get them packed, they're ready, mate.
He'll be there,
Don't be
mate.
far
He'll be
away.
there. I'm going to be the media manager.
Nice. We'll start the Ipswich team,
Yeah,
eh?
why not? Why not? Good on you, mate.
Thanks for
you,
coming
Jason
on,
Ross.
Moosey.
Appreciate
Cheers,
it,
mate.
boys.